In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
Hey, this is Mike.
And of course, we're doing something interesting today.
Oh, yeah?
I was going to say we're here with you on a Sunday morning again, even though you're going to hear this on Monday, but we're here on Sunday. I was going to say that initially, but then I'm like, we're doing something interesting today. We're actually going to be recording only one episode today. Mike has like household stuff he has to do because
bunch of house things.
He's an adult and people have to do those type of things.
Yeah, it
and
sucks.
So we're actually
sucks sometimes.
We're actually going to. It does suck sometimes. So we're actually just doing one episode today, and it's really cool because the next episode, I'm planting the seeds already. The next episode is a lot of fun because we very often talk about the best of food items because food is a big thing. I notice we do a lot of food talk. That's probably because I'm fat, but we do a lot of food talk. And we always get like the best list. I remember one of our biggest first ones was the best French fries, which made me because I had to investigate. I became a fan of Five Guys, and still am a fan of Five Guys. Their French fries are very good, but their burgers are even better.
Understood.
Yeah, and you know we've done lists like this, but this is going to be an interesting one because it's. Typically for Halloween, we talk about Halloween candies, and that will be coming up within 2 weeks here. 2 weeks from today, in fact, is going to be Halloween. How's your decorations are good, right?
Yeah,
still got on point with them?
Actually, we are still going on with that. We actually did a bunch of work. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? We haven't been able to fully recover from it yet. We spent all day setting our stuff up, and then Monday, really heavy winds came through and blew everything over.
Yes, there were.
We were very upset.
I'm a can and bottle recycler. I would like to say it's because of the environment, but it's because I paid a deposit on those things here in California, and I want my money back. So that's really
incentive is incentive. I understand it on an official level, but yeah, dude, I don't blame you.
And so I just don't get to the facility to recycle very often. So when I do, I usually end up having a full truck bed of cans and bottles, and I end up somewhere between like $80 and $100 usually that I get back at that point in time.
Nice,
but it's sporadic, and so I have the bags that kind of pile up in the backyard, and when the winds came through on Monday, blew open like 4 or 5 cans, and I spent most of yesterday morning corralling cans and bottles that had been blown through the yard. So I feel your pain on that one with the Monday morning or the Monday winds that happened this last week.
Yes.
It's been a very strange week. I got to we all know my at least by the podcast, well publicized hatred for a certain green fruit that is common in California and Mexico. I actually got to watch somebody have a they come in now. You can buy at Walmart or Sam's Club or any of the places that you like to buy your food in, from a large conglomerate that is soulless and doesn't care about people. You can buy pre-made guacamole that's in these like little.
Damn it!
Like what?
Well, you hadn't said what it was, but you just mentioned guacamole, and I was gonna sideswipe it with like green tomatoes, just for the hell of it. Damn.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway,
I was holding on the bit, but that's okay. I should have jumped.
You should have.
Yeah.
It's pre-made guacamole, but it comes in like, I guess what's supposed to be individual servings, these little plastic containers with, like the foil lid, like you're having applesauce or yogurt or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's guacamole set up. It's not really like true guacamole. It's just basically mashed avocado. I'm sure there's something else in there to make it more creamy, but it doesn't have like I think it's bad enough that people go ahead and mash avocado and eat the damn thing. But the things I've seen people actually put to make it what they feel true guacamole, the other things that they add into the avocado, that's just adding insult to injury. Like we're already going to make you eat this nasty disgusting green baby poop looking stuff, but let's add some chunks of other things into it too, because why not? Right?
I mean, it depends.
I mean, I've seen people put like big chunks of onion in there and tomatoes, and I get it. You're working with a similar flavor palette, like maybe a salsa kind of mixture in with that, but still, like, no, it's already gross enough. This green pasty stuff. I mean, it looks like Grogu vomited everywhere. But then you add other things into it. It's like my wife's family tradition of their traditional dip, where they take a jar of salsa and they don't just pour it on top of a brick of cream cheese, because that's a fairly common thing. Take a brick of cream cheese, put it on a plate, pour a jar of salsa on it, and then people for some reason love that. No,
I love the hell out of that.
Yeah, no, my wife's family takes it to the next level, and they actually mix it together so it looks like this pink slime with chunks. It's like I'm getting Ghostbusters 2 flashbacks.
So just for the hell of it, I looked up before you move forward. Just for the hell of it, I looked up the ingredients for guacamole, and I found the one from. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is Food Network. Okay, so it's not any of the real secret shit. It's just a regular guacamole recipe. And I thought that there was something to make it creamier. The only thing I can find is the juice of a lime. So it's
which is actually lime juice is actually really good to put in there to hopefully prevent a little bit of the oxidation and browning.
Yeah, there's avocados, lime. It's very simple. Avocado, lime, salt, cumin, cayenne, onion, jalapeno. This one puts in a couple of Roma tomatoes, which is, kind of cool. You could just probably do it with like half a tomato, and just dice it up. Chopped cilantro and garlic.
If they're doing Romas, the thing about Romas is
garlic's an ad, though. I don't think garlic was part of the initial recipe. I'm sure. Guacamole is basically pico with lime and avocado, and that's it.
Basically.
Yeah.
And the reason I can see them putting Romas in there, Romas are very good about retaining their shape. They don't get squished too easily. They're fairly sturdy as a tomato. Once they've been cut into small pieces, they're fairly sturdy. So they work really well in those type of situations, especially if it's going to be in something that's got the thick cream base of, grossness that avocado does. When I make my own homemade, yes, I call it salsa, even though I don't cook it. It's technically pico, but I call it salsa anyway, because that's just anyway.
It's okay. I'm not judging here.
When I make my own homemade, I do like two larger tomatoes, the type that you'd use for slicing for sandwiches or hamburgers or whatnot. And then the rest of the tomatoes I use are Romas. And I'm trying to get a lot of the juice out of the two bigger tomatoes. That's the main reason I use those. Romas don't have necessarily as much juice in them, but they hold up better as part of a dip situation. They're more sturdy, and so I have that mixture of the two of them in there. So you have some of the tomatoes that kind of melt and get juicy, and then the other ones that have the structure to them. So when you dip your chip in, you have a chip that has tomato on it, onion on it, and hopefully both the peppers that I use when I make it on there.
Oh,
and, you get a full, and the tomatoes are nice, small and uniform. I take forever to make it because I am very careful to cut all of my tomatoes small and uniform. I want you to be able to dip in there and have roughly the same size tomato pieces every single time you get a chip out of there. Or when you spread it on top of pork chops. Oh, sauce on.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that one.
So good. And then of course
I would do that kind of salsa on chicken too.
Yes, fried chicken. Yep. Hell yes.
Well, fried or pan fried. I'd pan fry the chicken. I could even bake it. I'd even bake it if it's done properly. Like if it's got to be good moist chicken. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fair. No, I like that.
Yeah, that's when we make a bowl of that here at the house. We usually make it in connection with making some kind of a taco dish, or maybe even when my wife has made tamales, we'll make it to go with that.
Oh yeah.
And Because that you got the tamales, you got rice, you got homemade beans. And yes, homemade beans. Because if you're going all out, you're doing all the work for tamales. Make some homemade beans. Don't just use a freaking can, people. Come on, it's not that difficult.
I will
but
pipe up. I know that you are much more the food snob than I am. I will pipe up here and I'm going to argue on the side of understanding those who use canned beans. Because there's so much other fucking work that you're doing. Like,
true.
It adds that much to it. Like, to mash your own fucking beans and spend that amount of time to mash them, fry them, and refry them.
Yeah.
Or to fry them, mash them, and then refry them. That's...
I get it. I'm just saying that, like, 99% of the time we use the cans because we don't have the time. But if you're going to go all out for tamales, just give yourself 3 days of cooking and make the real beans. Just...
That's fair.
Enjoy and make enough tamales that it feeds like half your neighborhood for the next 3 months. Because that's
exactly
isn't that what you do?
Exactly.
When you make tamales?
Yeah, you got 6 months of tamales in the freezer done in a weekend.
Yeah,
you
make a shit ton of them, and that's why I say if you're going to be doing all that for 3 days, just that's the one time make the real beans. Just make the real beans that one time.
I can side with that.
Every other time, do the can. It's fine. I eat the can on a regular basis. They're fine. But again, when you're going to go all out with everything.
That's fair.
Balls to the wall with it all. And so yeah, when we've done that, we make our version of salsa or pico to make you feel better, Mike. And it goes on everything. It goes on top of the tamales. It goes on top of the rice that's made. It goes on top of the beans. It doesn't matter. It's like you just build your plate and then you just pour some of the salsa on top. It's like, yeah, this is good. One of the best recommendations I ever had in my life was to actually put salsa on. Get it? This is weird. Biscuits and gravy. You wouldn't think to do it. It actually works.
Okay,
it's
well,
weird.
I'm all right. That is something I'm willing to try. It's something I've never done. Like, I always put pepper on my biscuits and gravy, but that's where I stop.
And peppers, pepper should be in your
fresh ground pepper. God damn it!
Yes, there should be enough of that in your gravy. Hopefully, if your gravy's made right, there should be enough of that in there.
I love throwing it in the gravy.
You can add some more, but I didn't think it would work either. But it's really, really weird. It works really good.
Salsa on biscuits and gravy. How?
I can't explain why.
Interesting.
It's one of those weird food combinations that, and this is one of the things I was talking about with this is I saw somebody use this. Let's get back to my original point, which was these compartmentalized guacamole things. I watched somebody actually make a chicken sandwich with some leftover chicken breast. Right, use a really nice ballpark hamburger bun for the sandwich because it was going to be a robust sandwich, and it was an everything bun. So like everything bagels has all those seasonings on it. So it's a good looking bun, nice and fluffy and whatnot. Ballpark makes some real fluffy hamburger buns, and he was having some chicken, so it was going to be some guacamole with this chicken. And that's what you wanted to use it with. And that's a common combination, guacamole and chicken. I get it. That, you have a chicken sandwich, turkey sandwich. People get the avocado on, whatever, it makes sense. But on one of the buns, guacamole was on the bottom bun, then the chicken, and then on the top bun, this person put mayonnaise first and then the guacamole, and I was a little confused by that because like the guacamole was giving you the food lube that you typically do with mayonnaise. I was like, why the mayonnaise? That's a weird combination. And guys, I like the flavor of it, and it led me back to, and I shared the story with them about a group of people that I know that when making chili dogs, you've heard this story, I think I've said it here on the podcast before, when making chili dogs, before they put the dog into the bun and the chili on top of the dog and whatever else you might want, cheese, fresh cut white onion, because that's what's appropriate to go with chili. They put mayonnaise on their hot dog bun before they put the hot dog in there. And it's like, why? Why would you put mayonnaise on your chili dog? It makes absolutely no sense to do that. What the hell is that about?
Really?
And I give my wife and her sisters crap about that every time we have chili dogs because they are the people that do this. They tried the other day, actually yesterday, we did some barbecuing and we had barbecued some hamburgers and hot dogs. I was smart enough to barbecue one extra hamburger so I could have it for breakfast this morning, because who doesn't want a hamburger with a fried egg on it for breakfast in the morning? I know I do. The only thing I was missing was bacon. But anyway, we had hamburgers and hot dogs, and of course we're sitting down to eat, and my wife and her sister, both, for their hot dog, they don't have anything else on the hot dog bun except for mayonnaise on the hot dog bun. And it's like, really? So it just extends to all times. Mayonnaise, for some reason, is what you put on your hot dog. Weird. And then somebody at the table had to pipe up, well, you put ketchup on your hot dog. Isn't that supposed to be wrong?
Who the hell said ketchup on a hot dog was wrong?
Oh, sir, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I have been given shit for a lot of my culinary choices, a lot of which I may have done while I was stoned, which is completely beside the point. But one thing that I have been judged for, that I know is absolutely completely fine, is ketchup on a fucking hot dog. Like, I've never seen a situation.
We're going there. Oh,
yep. I've never seen a situation where ketchup didn't fit on a hot dog, with the only real exception was, like, I wouldn't put ketchup on, like, a chili dog. Like, that wouldn't make sense, right? And I wouldn't necessarily put ketchup on a Chicago dog unless I was in a specific mood to do so. However, if you're putting ketchup on a Chicago dog, you're going to get your ass kicked if you're in the wrong area.
Well,
and I know that.
The reason this happened is because I do my commentary on things, and what I think I try to talk about what the unwritten rules are, especially when it comes to food, about food combinations. There are many written rules about it, like you're not supposed to have cheese with fish, and there are many unwritten rules about it. And the thing is, people don't like when you tell them that that the thing that they do with their food is part of the unwritten rule of what you shouldn't do with foods. They get mad because they feel like you're attacking them. Because
sounds like an attack to me. Yeah, I mean, it's not like
no. The thing is, they can't accept the fact. That just because it's considered against the rules doesn't mean it's not right for you. These are not. It's not like these are laws.
Fair.
These are just rules. And so whenever I do something that people know is against what's considered the acceptable rules, what's considered the acceptable ways of doing things, they want to point it out to me to try to think that I'm going to get all ass hurt about it. I'm going to get bothered because they're pointing it out. No, I'm not. I have accepted that there are many things that I do with food, with other things, that don't conform to what are the unwritten or even written sometimes rules of the situation, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that I'm weird, and sometimes some of the things I do are weird and don't make sense. I am totally cool with that. I've accepted myself in those things. And Mike, here's the bad news. They are right. Ketchup does not belong on a hot dog. It does not.
You shut your fucking mouth. Yeah,
no. Hold on, Mike. No, you're dealing with this problem. You're dealing with this issue. Dealing with this issue right now. Ketchup does not belong on a hot dog. The appropriate toppings for a hot dog are mustard and relish, chili, the weird ass things they put on there for a Chicago dog, which I personally don't believe are appropriate. But hey, Chicago does its own stupid thing anyway. They fucked up pizza, so I mean. They have all kinds of problems.
Wait, whoa! Now I'm confused. When did Chicago fuck up the pizza? What's the problem with Chicago style pizza, if I may ask? Because I'm very
that it exists.
Okay, period. No, okay, bigot. But I need to know a real explanation here.
No, I will say those ones are personal opinions, not part of the rules. Okay. My personal opinion is Chicago style pizza sucks. And I want nothing to do with this.
Have you had it? Like, is there just a problem? Like,
just the level of, I mean, there's so many layers and levels to it, and it looks like I've not been to Chicago, so I've not had true Chicago style pizza. I have no desire to. It just doesn't look like it would be appealing.
Yeah, that's the issue.
A pizza lasagna. It looks like a pizza lasagna, and it's like,
oh, okay, so it's basically a cake.
Kind of, yeah.
Dude, there is okay. So I have listened to other podcasts, which on top of this one, of course. Because I do listen in post after it goes up, but I
do better than me.
I thought you told me you did.
What? Listen to it?
Yeah.
Nah, it's been a while.
Understood. But well, it's not like I'm not like religious at listening to this podcast, but you know, when I feel like I will, because I'd be like, a lot of the time it's a concern. It's, did I say something that stupid? And sometimes the answer is yes. So I get to cringe at myself, but
I can imagine a few of the times actually.
But
anyway,
what I'm talking about is there's specific podcasts that I like to listen to, and do you mind if I mention the name of it? Because it is a very
I don't mind.
Okay, it's a very, I don't know, you've given me shit for mentioning other podcasts before. There's one I listened to called A Hot Dog as a Sandwich, and they actually have never gone over the idea of they just call the podcast A Hot Dog as a Sandwich, and they don't actually talk about the argument about whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich. But one of the things that they have talked about is how certain types of food classify as other types of food, i.e. hot dog as a sandwich, is a cereal soup,
Pop-Tarts or ravioli.
Pop-Tarts are ravioli. Oh, yeah, they would be. They would technically be a ravioli. Almost a cake, actually.
No, they're ravioli.
But they have classified the Big Mac as a cake, and technically a lasagna would also be a cake.
Okay, I can see that because of the layers.
Yes, it's not just the layers, but the layers and the difference between it. Like what you're putting in between. Like, and we're talking about like how some people have like argued the classification of sushi being a burrito or a burrito being sushi, and they're like, well, that's not necessarily true because of choice of carb and all this kind of stuff. Like they go deep into it, and it's a lot of fun to listen to because it's kind of a mind fuck. It makes you like really question the way that something is formed and whether or not. But one of the things they've argued against, although I listened to it, I didn't quite hear the argument, was that a hot dog is not a taco. And I don't know why a hot dog wouldn't be one, aside from the fact that it's leavened bread rather than unleavened bread. That's the only thing I could think of.
Oh, so that's where they come up with the idea. Or that's the possible reason why a taco doesn't qualify as technically wouldn't qualify as either a sandwich or a hot dog or anything like that. It's its own separate thing,
right?
Because of the use of unleavened bread product as opposed to the other. That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
that's a good way to classify it.
That was the way that I got. But you had triggered that with me talking about the
Chicago style pizza.
Yeah, the Chicago style pizza sounds like a cake. Like that's the first thing with the separate layers and stuff, like a lasagna.
And just keep in mind that there's so much overlap in the world of everything. Everything overlaps in some way, shape, or form. Old ideas inspire new ideas, so there's connections that we don't necessarily see. I mean, we see it in the cinematic world all the time, where the movie Fern Gully, which we watched as kids and enjoyed and inspired nicknames for sister-in-law's boyfriends. For example, the sister-in-law that lives in the house here has a boyfriend that I call Zag. His name is Zach. I should introduce him to you at some point.
Yeah.
Really neat guy. And yeah, I call him Zag. At first she didn't get it. I had to explain it. The sister-in-law got it because I taught her the proper things about movies as she was growing up. But yeah, he didn't get it at first, and I had to explain what it is. So occasionally I'll call him Zag, which is for anybody that doesn't know, it's the main character in the animated film Fern Gully. His name is Zach, and he gets through magic, he gets shrunk down to the size of a fairy, and then he ends up helping the fairies protect the forest from a ravening machine that's trying to destroy the forest. Originally, he's working for the company that's operating the machine to destroy the forest.
Right.
And the male fairy that was having romantic interest in the female fairy, who now has romantic interest in Zach, calls Zach's, the Zach character Zag. Interesting voice acting with Samantha Mathis Christian Slater.
That's who it was. He's
the fairy that calls it.
He's the jealous male fairy. Yeah.
And Robin Williams in an early voice role as Batty Coda, a fruit bat that has been experimented on by humans, and of course that's what they use to introduce Robin Williams' ability to improvise and say funny things.
Oh my god!
Price check on prune juice, Bob. Price check on prune juice.
Dude, that is he was Batty before he was Genie, right?
No, I think it was around the same time frame. Oh. But if the plot sounds somewhat familiar, that's because it is the very, very big, in fact, one of the biggest movies of all time. And there's no hyperbole there. It's literally like one of the top 3. It used to be the top 1 best-selling movie of all time.
Oh my God.
It is the exact same rough plot, and in fact, at one point, one of my children asked me to watch Fern Gully with the blue people. And of course, I'm speaking of Avatar. I was very proud of that child on that day, almost as proud as the day when we were playing Star Wars Battlefronts 2, and he asked me to play the moon level, and I had no idea what he was talking about. There was no freaking moon level, and I'm cycling through levels, and finally we get to one. He's like, "Yes, that one, the moon level." It was the Death Star level. I was so proud of him because I got to have my moment. That's no moon. That's a space station.
That's fantastic.
Stupid. So those are probably two of my prouder moments as a parent with that child. But the fact that he could recognize that basically Avatar was Fern Gully with blue people, it's the same exact story.
Totally
we recycle, which I mean, if you really want to think about it, Avatar and Fern Gully are just Dances with Wolves. One in the Australian outback and one in space with blue people. They're the same movie. We have these.
Well, wouldn't that story also technically be Pocahontas?
Well, no, Pocahontas.
Well, Dances with Wolves came out before Pocahontas, but Pocahontas was kind of shopped like Dances with Wolves, sort of, wasn't it?
Well, Pocahontas is basically just an entire pocket of lies. There's nothing truthful in all of Pocahontas.
No,
literally every single thing that happens in that movie is a total lie, a total fabrication. For anybody that wants to know, Pocahontas did exist. When John Smith came to the Americas, Pocahontas was 12.
Yeah, she was 12, and he ended up bringing her back to England.
No,
she
did not.
No, it was somebody else that did it, because I know she ended up coming back to England. She was baptized as Rebecca, and then she died of disease.
Yeah,
like it was.
She eventually
she was
went
like
to
in her
England.
20s.
She went to England many years later.
Yeah,
she was in her 20s.
Sorry, any children that may or may not be listening to this, which if you are, I mean, probably shouldn't. But sorry to break every '90s kid's heart if you haven't heard that already.
She married a guy named John Rolfe, who does appear, by the way, in the second Pocahontas animated movie.
But, oh my God, they didn't.
Oh, they did, and
I didn't see the sequel.
There's nothing about that has any truth to it whatsoever.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
damn it, they break John Rolfe in.
Actually, you know what's really funny about that? I want to add one thing. Pocahontas was being made at the same time by Disney as another film. And there were people who refused to work on the other film because they thought Pocahontas was going to be the more prestigious film. And they were clamoring to work on Pocahontas, like working their butts off. The other film had a couple of Broadway actors that were former film actors, but mainly Broadway actors that were doing the voices for it. They didn't have, like Mel Gibson and a young Christian Bale, who he was kind of nobody at that point.
Wait a minute, Christian Bale? Is he Thomas?
Christian Bale's he's Thomas in Pocahontas.
Holy shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like I said, this other one just had some aging actors that had just had supporting roles, Broadway actors, and an old British kind of rock and roll guy doing the soundtrack for it. So they weren't really worried about that. No, Pocahontas had Vanessa Williams going to be singing the main song. This had Mel Gibson in it. Pocahontas was the prestige project. All the artists, all the animators, they all wanted to be on Pocahontas. So all of the second level animators got to deal with the other movie. You know what the other movie was?
What? Well, you said with Broadway actors, so I'm thinking like what, like Lion King?
Yep, it was The Lion King, which
oh, I'm
was,
sorry
at the time,
that you had
the
Vanessa
best-selling-
Williams instead of fucking Elton John. Come on
Well,
now.
Elton John was on the back end of his career at that point. The only thing that he had done of any note, actually he hadn't done anything of any note because Diana hadn't died yet, so he hadn't rechanged the Candle in the Wind song yet.
Whoa, really? That came out before? Whoa.
Yeah, he hadn't done anything of note for years. He was almost irrelevant at that point, just an old, aging British rock and roll guy. It'd been like 10 years since he'd had a hit.
For some reason, his hair just kept growing back.
And you get literally one of the best animated movies of all time in Lion King. A resurgence of career for somebody like Matthew Broderick, who was basically resigned to Broadway roles. Ernie Sabella, who had never had any real film credits. Nathan Lane, who had like one or two small film credits. I mean, this just boosted everybody's. It was Lion King became an amazing success, and Pocahontas was just like because it should be because it's lies. Yes, I understand. I understand that Lion King is a bunch of lies and possibly ripped off Kimba the White Lion, and also is basically Hamlet with animals. Again, stories just recycling each other over and over, but still, it just shows how stupid people can be sometimes. We don't want to do that animal film. We're going to do something about Pocahontas. Right. Not a good choice. Go with the animal piece, stay away from the period piece. Period pieces are always difficult, especially when you're dealing with race relations that are not reported historically accurately. But I digress. We've been digressing over the this mishmashing of
this
stuff.
is a wonderful tangent.
The point being, ketchup. Yeah, it doesn't belong on hot dogs, Mike. However,
that was such a transition. Wonderful segue.
Thank you. However,
why? Okay, I need somebody to explain why. It's sauce.
It's just not considered an appropriate topping for
why though. But why? Okay, so I have a question. I
don't know the reasons why.
No, I have a legit question here.
Mike,
no, this is something you contemplate. Let me get my fucking point out. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the deal. I understand hot dogs and sausages are different. And as a matter of fact, when I consider sausages, there are certain things I don't put on most sausages. You know, like I don't tend to put ketchup on like Polish sausage, let's say, right?
Yeah.
It has a different consistency. It has a different flavor. It has a different spice. Spicy brown mustard most of the time, or dependent upon. I wouldn't necessarily do like Dijon mustard or anything like that. Some people would. I'm not ripping on anybody for that. However, my issue here is most of the time I do not put ketchup on sausage because sausage has a different consistency. Hot dogs are extremely cheap sausage, and they require a lot more to honestly and don't get me wrong, like they're very well made hot dogs, like Ballpark, and I don't mean Ballpark brand, I mean legit Ballpark hot dogs are fantastic. Legit, there's a hot dog place that's down in the Sacramento area out here. If you haven't been there, James, you fucking need to.
What's
because
it
called? Oh crap. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Well, look it up. Give me the name.
I'll look it up during the break. I'll look it up during the break so that I can bring it back in. Because dude, it is a kicking hot dog place, ass kicking hot dog place. I love it. But that being said, most of your standard hot dogs that you have at a family barbecue are the same type of hot dog all the time. They're just the cheap $1.50, couple dollars. Cheap dogs that are thrown on the grill. Most of the time they're burnt. They all look like Freddy Krueger fingers after they're done. And you need a lot more than what that hot dog allows you to present, because most of the time you have an extremely cheap bun. So yeah, are there other things you could put on top of it? Yes, you could try to make a Chicago style dog if you want to, but the hot dog itself, in order to actually get any flavor out of it, you got to put more topping than hot dog. Which is just a bad ratio.
No, I get you, but typically the things that are considered are mustard. Think about it. At hot dog places, there are oftentimes hot dogs that are like a Chicago dog that are sold with specific things already on them.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to think, has there been a hot dog place you've gone to where ketchup is served regularly on a pre-made dog setup, or is that something that you always have to add after? Keep in mind, probably the biggest hot dog chain, at least around here, not saying these are necessarily good hot dogs, but also not saying they're bad, because I love me some of that.
Yeah, they're good, but normal. Yeah, well, Wiener Schnitzel, the only type of hot dog I get at a Wiener Schnitzel is a chili dog.
And you get 5 of them at a time and eat them and hurt your stomach, because that's how you do it.
Yes.
But even if you just got a regular hot dog, the default hot dog that they sell is a mustard dog, because it is understood that mustard and relish are the appropriate toppings for a hot dog, and ketchup is not the appropriate topping for a hot dog. Now here's
is
the
it
way
because I have a question about that. I have a question about that. Is it because ketchup is inappropriate, or is it because everybody has a different taste in ketchup, and some people like it and some people don't? So because it tends to be, I can understand it tending to be a controversial subject here, but is it because this allows people to add the amount of ketchup that they wish to have on a hot dog?
No,
because they still allow you ketchup. You still have ketchup there. If ketchup was a travesty and was not a proper option, they wouldn't give it to you, right?
I mean, covering your, not necessarily true. There are some specialty hot dog restaurants that refuse to have ketchup, specifically because it is considered an inappropriate topping. But any large chain, anybody that wants to appeal to the masses, they'll have it available. It's the same.
This just sounds like it sounds like fucking hipsters and IPAs is what it fucking sounds like.
It's not. This is something that's been going on for far longer than hipsters and IPAs thing.
No, but it's still that same, it's still that same faux bougie thing. You know what I mean?
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's one of those things that it's just not considered the appropriate topping to put on a hot dog. It's just not considered appropriate for that purpose. That's not what the design is for. It's also like the idea of, if you were to have a sandwich, say a turkey sandwich, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, this isn't the bad analogy, James. Don't even use that analogy. The point is, there are some of these things that are, a lot of these unwritten rules of food are the based on the original idea of what something is supposed to be, the flavor profile that it's supposed to have, the things it's supposed to have with it. And typically, even with the various toppings that go on hot dogs, something with a tomato flavor is typically not added in. It's almost like that's just not the flavor that you normally would connect with a hot dog. Now, again, when I have hot dogs, the number one topping that I put on a hot dog, other than, of course, chili, is ketchup. And I understand that it is not considered the appropriate topping for a hot dog. But guess what? I don't fucking care. I love ketchup on my hot dog. And that's what I'm going to put on there, because that's what I like. And so, yes, there are these unwritten rules about how you're supposed to do certain things like this. Doesn't matter if it works for you. And you just have to accept the fact that, yeah, I know that that's the rule. I don't give a shit. I'm going to eat it this way anyway, because this is how I like it. What's funny about this conversation is I'm running out of time for the first half of the show to bring up the thing that I was really that really inspired me to have this part of the conversation with you, which was before the show we were talking a little bit about these weird food combinations, and the one that I bring up that was brought up to me, and I want to add that I'm a person that has problems eating certain food combinations that are considered normal. The biggest example that connects into this is I was in my 30s before I was able to actually eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
What?
And that's because when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to have jelly. My mother was worried that it would make too much of a mess, so she never gave me jelly. I ate peanut butter sandwiches growing up, just peanut butter on white bread. I still eat those, which I still get looks of like, what the hell? How can you eat that? Peanut butter is so, tacky. It sticks in your mouth. You need the jelly to help with it. Plus, it doesn't have the right flavor. You need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I have refused so many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in my life. It's not even funny. I have been judged so heavily for not eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Well, that's
something that I never thought would be possible for a freaking sandwich, but because it is such a connected childhood staple, people have such feelings about you not wanting to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
What
it took
the
me, like I
hell?
said, every 5 years or so, I would try one again, knowing that taste buds change, knowing that. Let me add, with my hatred of avocado, every 5 years or so, I actually try to smell an avocado, and the smell is enough to drive me away. I don't put it in my mouth because the smell makes me want to puke. And so I can't override the smell part at this point.
I can understand that.
One day that may change, and I understand that. And it'll be a sad day. I don't know if I'll be able to live through it, but I will do what I can. But like I say, every so many years, I try different things just to see if my taste buds have changed, just to see if maybe I have a different feeling. And it was in my 30s when I was finally able to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I am specific about the jelly that I use. I prefer blackberry. I'm not really a fan of grape or strawberry jelly. I've had them as I've gotten older. I'm just not as big a fan of them flavor wise. I'm not a big strawberry person anyway. I love grapes. It's one of the few fruits that I like, but grape jelly just doesn't hit it with me. Love blackberry jelly though. I'll put that on just about anything. And that's what I use for a peanut butter sandwich when I do have them. I only have them very occasionally because it's still something that the texture is weird for me. The combination of the peanut butter and the jelly texture, it freaks me out. And part of that is because I didn't grow up being used to it. Part of it is I have texture sensitivity to begin with. So this is one of those weird things that a combination that everybody eats, but to me it just seems just like, no. Which leads me into one of the things that I do eat with peanut butter that other people think is just weird. Except the people that actually like it. And that's peanut butter and pickles. And you'd think, you can't deal with peanut butter and jelly. How do you deal with peanut butter and pickles? I'll tell you how. First thing I do is I don't make the mistake of putting it into a sandwich, because that's where people go wrong when they try peanut butter and pickles, which I believe was your experience with it, right?
Yeah, it's just I had it in a sandwich. We were talking about this. Were we talking about this off the podcast, or was it? It was just before we started recording, right? Okay.
Right before we started recording.
Yeah. Okay. And so yeah, we do a little bit of a warm up beforehand, but yeah, we're bringing that in, and that's good. Yeah, I had it in a sandwich, and it just doesn't seem right.
The problem with it in a sandwich is, again, this is where I honestly believe that a lot of people don't think about the textures of their food and the varying textures. There's some that do. A lot of professional cooks do, because they're going for a layered texture effect. They want you to have those different textures in there because it can, on certain things, it can enhance the food. Think about some of the ice creams that you like that have embedded things in them, like Rocky Road. Sometimes having those embedded pieces help enhance the enjoyment of the food. Sometimes it makes it worse. And for people that have texture issues with their food, different textures can make it worse. So imagining a piece of bread, you have the texture of that. You have the thick texture of peanut butter. Then you have the crunchy texture of pickles, which pickles already have their own unusual texture. It's technically a fruit. Most people don't realize that. They think of it as a vegetable. It's not. It's actually a fruit.
Cucumbers are fruit?
Yes, they're actually fruit. They're melons. They're part of the melon
Holy
family.
shit! No, you're absolutely right. That is a melon.
And then you have the
Giant
other piece of bread on there.
Dick-shaped melon.
Yeah. You have the other piece of bread on there. And so those are three really wildly different textures. So what's a way to maybe make it work? Remove one of the textures. So I recommend anybody that wants to try something unusual, if they want to give peanut butter and pickles a try. First thing, you have to get the right pickle. And you have to make sure, get a dill pickle. Don't get sweet pickle, because it'll be too sweet with the peanut butter. Don't get any pickle that has any flavoring. No hot and spicy. No garlic. I mean, I love the garlic ones personally. It's what I have.
You just don't want to do garlic and peanut butter. God, that sounds like a terrible idea.
That just reminds me that I don't want to. I picked up some peanut butter whiskey a little while ago. It's really, really good. Really good. So much better than I thought it would be. But I love doing.
That actually sounds like a decent combination.
Oh, it's good. I like to do pickleback shots where you do a shot of pickle juice and a shot of whiskey. I do not want to do that with the peanut butter whiskey because the pickle juice I have is the garlic dill.
Oh no, okay, yeah.
But I might just pick up some dill pickles because I just thought that's a really good way to do to pull in the whole peanut butter and
Peanut
pickle
butter
thing.
whiskey with a pickleback. Whoa!
Yes, that would be awesome.
Unless it isn't.
Anyway, unless it isn't. So you got to get some dill pickles, and then here's what you do: just spoon some of the peanut butter into a bowl, and dip your pickles in the peanut butter, and do it that way. Then you have just the texture of think of it as
the visual on this in my mind's eye right now just does not look good.
Well, here's the thing here's the thing I want you to think about. All right, what vegetable? Because there is a vegetable that peanut butter is regularly paired with. What vegetable is that?
Celery.
Now think about the consistency of celery, kind of the crunch to it. It's not the same as pickle, but you can see some similarities with that crunchiness, right?
There's some, yeah. I mean, that's almost like, here, let's try peanut butter with romaine lettuce then. Like
no. Romaine lettuce has a whole different texture situation to what pickles.
Or maybe iceberg. Like, I understand what you're talking about, but I see what you're talking about as far as the crunchy aspect of it.
Yes, the crunchy aspect of it is there's at least some similarity in there. Now, celery only really has kind of to it and nothing else, like salty and water. It's like they turn salt water into a plant. It's really weird. That's you get some of the salty with the pickle, but that's the thing is, could you imagine having peanut butter and celery is again one of those childhood staples. I did eat that as a child. They tried to do the stupid thing where they do ants on a log where they put freaking raisins on your peanut butter and celery. And I'm sorry, I'm adding raisins to the list with American cheese and avocado. Raisins belong one place, and that's in the garbage. They're humiliated grapes.
Raisins? What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, hold on one second. You're an advocate for peanut butter and pickle. You're not necessarily. I can understand your aversion to avocado. That makes sense to me. Okay. Yeah. You're an advocate for peanut butter and pickle. You prefer not to have peanut butter with jelly because I understand you were raised like that, and that's a complex all its own. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a complex all its own. Preferring pickle with peanut butter versus jelly with peanut butter, that part's strange. But now you want to bring. Yeah. Now you want to bring raisins into it? What the fuck is wrong with raisins?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Look, I understand you want to throw avocado. You would if you had the capability of nuking all of the avocado forests on the planet, you would take it. I know that you would get that, but I don't understand dry grapes, dude. They're just sun-dried grapes. What did they ever do to you?
I will tell you, they actually did do something to me.
Oh God!
And not just to me. They didn't just do something to me. They did something to my daughter. Okay.
What the hell?
I'm going to get to that. But point being here, you've had the celery with peanut butter on it, right? You've had the celery with peanut butter on it.
I'm sorry. I'm still processing what you just said.
We'll get there.
Okay. Yeah. We got to. I got to hear this.
You've eaten celery with peanut butter on it. Now, I want you to imagine something, okay? Take a piece of bread, okay? A piece of bread.
Okay.
Put peanut butter on the piece of bread.
Okay.
Okay. Take small like slices of celery, like it's to be like in stuffing or whatever, or to go like in a mirepoix or whatever, like small little slices of it. Take slices of celery, put that on top of the peanut butter, put another piece of bread on. Eat peanut butter and celery that way. That would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yes, of course that would be weird.
That's why eating peanut butter and pickles as a sandwich is weird.
Okay, hold on. Are you hollowing out? Wait a minute. Are you hollowing out a pickle and putting peanut butter inside the pickle?
You don't need to hollow it out. You can just dip it in.
That's an entirely different type of consistency. Because the reason why celery really works with peanut butter is because you could it's a boat, man.
I can dip celery into peanut butter and eat it that way. That
would
works
you have?
too.
Okay, hold on, because there's other stuff too. Like, would you have ranch with a pickle?
Maybe.
Would you have cheese whiz with a pickle?
Well, you shouldn't have cheese whiz with celery, but that's a whole nother topic.
I mean, you haven't done the cheese whiz with the celery before, man?
That's just wrong.
Why?
And hold on, before anybody even asks, you can put celery.
I know we're getting into questionable cheese products, so I will give you that one. I'll give you that one. Because you don't even like American cheese. Like, you're not even a fan of American cheese. So
I can do cheese whiz sometimes, depending on the situation. preferably with crackers. Anyway, point being, people, if you ever want to try peanut butter and pickles, do not do it as a sandwich. Do it as a dipping thing. Because honestly, that's the way you really get the true flavor, and you don't have to worry about the weirdness of having crunchy, some kind of crunchy thing inside your peanut butter sandwich, unless you like that kind of thing, because you're one of those weird people that eats crunchy peanut butter. That's a whole different topic of stupid.
Right.
But anyway, we're overdue for a break. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how raisins have betrayed me and my daughter both, and I want to talk a little bit about some movie trailers that came out this last week.
Oh my God, we were way out.
We are. We'll be back. We'll be back in. We may get to the movie trailers, although that inspired me with the cheese was, we're not even doing the movie trailers. We're going to keep this thing about food because.
Are you sure that we don't want to do it? Touch upon those trailers? Like, they just came out, man.
Okay, we'll do the trailers. Whatever. We'll be back in just a minute once we get this figured out.
All right.
Hey friends, this is Mike from the Xennial Chronicles reminding you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Xencron, spelled Xenchron, to keep up to date on all things TXC. And please check out our official website, theXennialChronicles.com, or if that's too much to type, Zencron.com. Thanks again for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we are back.
Okay.
So Mike did some research.
Yes, I did.
Found out the name of the hot dog place he wants me to go to.
Yes. Okay, so the place is called Wiener Works.
That sounds like a male strip club.
I am not trying to trick you.
It should be a male strip club.
You're not wrong.
No, it should be. It really should be. That's like the ultimate name for a male strip club. And honestly, a lot of strip clubs serve food.
Is it a statement?
If I was depending
on the way Wiener Works Wiener Works, like you have no.
You know what though? I can see a business model here. You title the place Wiener Works. It's got to be male strip club, one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two, a lot of strip clubs serve food. You have to exclusively serve wieners of all kinds, from the basic hot dogs to like.
Oh, I thought you were still starting about. I thought you were still talking about the male strip club aspect of this.
No, you do. Well, you do both. You have the strip club part, and then you have the food service has to be wieners of all kind. And hey, I mean, if prostitution was legalized like it should be and taxed like it should be, that would be the ultimate setup for male prostitution right there.
Oh my God.
We try not to be too political, but this is the one political thing I'll say. Legalize prostitution, regulate it, tax the shit out of it, because it would make a ton of money for the government, and it would also like totally, it's been proven scientifically that it decreases rates of rape, because if guys can pay for sex legally, they don't try to force it out of people.
Seriously, whoa. We got real.
I'm just sorry. Anyway, moving on.
Holy shit.
Moving on. So, you got the Wiener Works should be a male strip club serving hot dogs and wieners of all types, and the place where you can get Viagra. Because that's the whole Wiener Works. We're going to make sure your Wiener Works. Seriously.
Come down to Wiener Works, your favorite male strip club, hot dog joint, and pharmacy.
Exactly. Just bash it all into one. Anyway, I'm definitely gonna have to try the place out because again, I love hot dogs. Plus, I need to see if they're really living up to the business model that their name could imply, and maybe have some words with them about additional services that they should offer.
Oh
there.
God!
And then get myself kidnapped and banned for life. One of these things will happen. But anyway, that's a great name for a place. Even if all they serve is hot dogs, that's just a great name for a place.
Oh,
it's one of those names where you're like, either you're like, somebody's like super conservative, like aunt or whatever that hears a name, that place sounds dirty, and secretly they plan on going to it. Or you're somebody like me who's like, that place sounds dirty, I so have to go there. I'm not secret about it. That's just awesome. It's like, I want to go to a place called Wiener Works because that's funny.
Oh my God.
I mean, That's just
This-
me. And hey, I just want to say, if there ever for as far as the male strip club thing goes, okay, there are people that want to see naked men too. I admit that I would much rather see naked women because they're just better to look at. But hey, don't hate on the naked men. All right, they want to be naked too. People want to see them too. All right, just saying. Anyway, moving on.
I'm so confused at how we went. Oh, I'm not confused at how we went. I think that was a great bit, but
You know the second you told me what the place was called, this exactly direction I planned on taking it. I made sure that you had no idea that was what was going to happen, but this was the direction I planned.
That's fantastic. Okay.
So people in the Sacramento area, I guess, check out Wienerworks. Mike says the wieners are good. I was holding on to that one too.
Hate you.
Now, before the break, I promised to tell you my issue with raisins. And again, I want to add that they are
issue with. I'm sorry, say you said your issue with raisins.
With raisins, yes.
Okay.
With raisins, and again, they are basically humiliated grapes. And if people don't understand that is a reference to 2 movies, then you just don't know your movies and go watch more. Specifically, Benny and June and Pirates of the Caribbean, and hopefully you get the connection between that. And again, if you don't stop listening to us, you should know the connection between us. Actually, don't stop listening. We need more. Anyway, don't tell people to stop listening. We need more people.
I am as confused as most other people will be. I am just stating that now.
And the people that the funny thing is that there are people who will get it, and I'm brilliant. So here's the deal.
Okay.
Here's the deal. Raisins have always been a bane of mine. First of all, they're one of those snack foods that you know are considered healthy. And I as a kid, I had a problem with healthy snack foods. My mother was tasked, as all mothers were in my kindergarten class, with providing like the Friday snack or whatever day we had like a special snack. One parent each week had to like bring it in, right? My mother was only allowed to do it once because they told her it had to be a healthy snack. They told her it had to be healthy. So the only thing that she could think of to make that was a healthy snack to bring in. And by the way, this is before I had ever had the whole celery and peanut butter, at least at home. I had seen it in school and I had picked the raisins off because I didn't want to eat the damn raisins, and I got in trouble for doing that. I've been in trouble many times in my life for picking off food from other food items that I didn't want.
Okay.
You know, people would order pizza with. There was a time when I was very limited about my toppings for pizza, so people would order like supreme pizzas, and that's the only pizza that they'd order for people to eat, and I'd be picking all the different things off. Why are you picking the toppings off? Because I don't like them. But that's how the pizza was ordered. You should eat it. I'm like, why are you such a dick? I'm still eating the pizza. I just don't want these things on my pizza because I don't
conform to my choices.
Yeah, and then they get insulted by it.
Yeah. It sounds like their fucking problem.
It is their problem, but when you're a kid, the adults make it your problem because they don't want to understand that you're a person too, and you have your own feelings and thoughts about things, and you should be treated as a person instead of treated as a possession. Whole different subject. Move on, James. Anyway, my mother's idea of a healthy snack was she had an air popper for popcorn because it was the 80s and everybody had air poppers for popcorn. Because microwave popcorn wasn't as big a thing yet. It was becoming it because microwaves were still scary technology that might make you sterile if you stood in front of it for too long. I stood in front of microwaves for a good portion of my life. I had 3 kids. So
nice retort.
I didn't nuke my nuts. But anyway, my mother had an air popper, and of course the air popper, if you've seen them, I'm sure you've encountered one. If one of your parents didn't already have one, they got a little thing on top where you put butter in it melts the butter, and then you put the butter over the popcorn afterwards and all the salt and whatnot.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But my mother thought, okay, butter and salt probably not good because that was the start of fat is bad craze, which by the way, fat is not bad in your food. Sugar is bad in your food. Fat is not. Science has proven that. Humans were eating fat from the animals that they killed for like centuries and millennia and whatnot, before sugar was heavily cultivated, our bodies are so much more able to deal with large fat content, and we're not able to deal with the large sugar content because we've only been cultivating sugar and using it in the quantities that we do for the last like 300-400 years. So actually the quantities we do now for the last 150 years. So yeah, I mean, do the actual real research. But anyway, moving on. My mother didn't think that the fat and the salt was going to be good. So she sent me to school with bags of air popped popcorn that had nothing on them. No salt, no butter, no flavor, just air popped popcorn. I went to school with like 30 bags of air pop popcorn. I came home with 30 bags of air pop popcorn.
Oh, shit.
Nobody in the class wanted the popcorn. Not a single kid ate any of it. Yeah, that
including
was one of those
you?
moments. Oh, hell yeah, including me. I wasn't eating dry freaking popcorn. I totally understood the other kids, but I also was like, my mother ruined my life. That was the first of many times. But,
oh my God.
at least the first one of my memory of many times. But anyway,
God damn, that just sounds like it needs to go into a comedy. It does. Like, you mean like that time that your mom actually brought the entire class dry popcorn for a snack?
Seriously, there are so many moments in my life. There are so many moments in my life that I could use as sitcom fodder. That would be the backstory of the main character and why he has the various problems that he has. I know where my problems come from. Oh, I know. I don't need to pay a therapist to tell me. I already know. Anyway, moving on. Raisins are one of those healthy snacks that were passed out all the time. Even though they're actually fairly high in sugar content, they still were passed out on a regular basis. And raisins are one of those snacks I always refuse. Now, I can tell you what my reason for hating raisins is. At first, just initially hating them and not wanting to eat them. Not the betrayal part. That comes later. Multiple times later. But just the initial hating part. And the initial hating part comes from, I just don't like the texture of them. The texture bothers me. They're somewhere between like a fruit snack and like the crusty parts of things you don't want to eat. To me, I just don't like them. They make my mouth unhappy when I have them in my mouth.
I can understand it being a texture thing. That would make sense. It's okay. It does. They can get stuck in your teeth if you're not careful, and sometimes they have the little stems in them still. So yeah, I mean, I can understand the problem.
So, and that's just raisins by themselves. But society has this problem where they like to throw raisins into shit. They like to put raisins into baked goods specifically. Now, we've talked about many times before on this, how much I am a huge fan of baked goods. I'm a big fan of pastries of almost all types, breads. I mean, that's why I am the size that I am, is I eat that stuff whenever I get the possibility to. I'm not going to lie about it. I own the truth of this. One of my favorite things to eat is cinnamon rolls. I love me some cinnamon rolls. They're just you can put a whole thing of cinnamon rolls in front of me and they're probably going to be gone. I mean, just beautiful flavors. Cinnamon is just a spice I love on most sweet things. It's great. I've sought out cinnamon ice cream. There was a time where I think one summer, like Eskimo pies, the old Eskimo pies, the ice cream I'm talking about, any ice cream that's basically a vanilla ice cream inside with a hard candy chocolate shell. You know what I'm talking about, right? Popsicle type.
Yeah.
Okay. As hurtful as the name Eskimo pie is, that's what they were known as for many years.
Oh yeah.
Luckily I think they no longer go under that name, so that's nice. But there was one summer where they had one company made these. They had the chocolate shell on them, but the ice cream inside was a cinnamon vanilla ice cream. I cannot even tell you how many boxes of those ice creams I bought, because if you've never had chocolate and cinnamon together, it is an amazing combination. We're getting into winter right now. Anybody gonna be making some hot chocolate? Just put a little bit of cinnamon in your hot chocolate. Just sprinkle a little bit on top. You'll be surprised the depth of flavor that cinnamon adds to chocolate. It's such a great combination that people don't know enough about. So I love these ice creams because they had that, the cinnamon in. I love cinnamon. So cinnamon rolls, I very much gravitate towards cinnamon rolls. But after, I'd say, 6 different encounters with cinnamon rolls at various stores, I have had to start searching ingredient labels when I buy cinnamon rolls. Do you know why?
No.
Because for a while they've stopped. The industries have stopped. But for a while, guess what they were throwing in as an extra ingredient to cinnamon rolls?
What, raisins?
They were throwing raisins into cinnamon rolls.
How
and I'm talking
dare they?
And I'm talking even like the prepackaged, like Hostess cheesy ones that came on that white, like somewhat corrugated base to them, and then they were cellophane package. You know what cinnamon rolls I'm talking about? The Hostess ones that they just buy by the
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be by the register at a place, and again it had that white waxy.
So they weren't marketed as cinnamon rolls with raisins. They were just cinnamon rolls, and then they happened to have raisins in them. So you had to like take that extra step to see whether or not they were in there.
For a while in the beginning, they did not have with raisins on. Finally, the store ones. Each store has each grocery store has their own bakery, and they'll have their store made cinnamon rolls, and just say cinnamon rolls. Sometimes with cream cheese frosting, sometimes it's just regular, icing on it, whatever. And they wouldn't say it. And you'd bite into it. I'd be biting into cinnamon roll. It's great. I'd come to this chewy bit, and I'm like, what the hell is this chewy bit? Pull it out of my mouth. Freaking raisin. I'd look at the cinnamon roll. I could see pieces of raisin in it. It's like, nope. Done. Ruined so many cinnamon rolls for me. Finally, the different places started putting it on the packaging that this was one with raisins. And so I'd search for the ones without raisins. And guess what I would find in those situations? The ones without raisins would be gone, but the ones with raisins would still be there. Why? Because even though people love raisins, they don't want them in their cinnamon rolls.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair point. Like, don't get me wrong. I like raisins in cinnamon rolls, and but I also would like to know when there's raisins in my cinnamon rolls. You know what I mean? Like,
and they do it with cinnamon bread too. You get cinnamon bread, and I always have to check a cinnamon bread. Even to this day, I have to check a cinnamon bread. They have the bread with like the cinnamon swirl in it and stuff. I have to check because, like, seriously, over half the time.
Okay, hold on 1 second. One moment. Okay, this is where I can definitely side with you in. Okay, because if it's raisin bread, that's raisin bread. It's its own type of bread. That's raisin bread. If it's cinnamon bread, that's cinnamon bread. If there's cinnamons and raisins in the bread, then it is cinnamon raisin bread. It is not cinnamon bread, add raisins at your discretion. It's cinnamon raisin bread, and it needs to be marketed as such so people know what they're getting.
Same thing with freaking bagels. I see a bagel, and I see. Luckily, the bagels are marketed, or they have the right label on them. But I see the first word cinnamon. I'm like, ooh, cinnamon bagel, cinnamon and raisin. No bagel for me, you stupid raisins. Want the cinnamon bagel, and that's the other problem with it is somehow or another. Cinnamon and raisin are mashed together in this flavor combination, and it pisses me off because I don't want raisins ruining the cool cinnamon shit I could get. And it's
So okay. Sidebar. Yeah, a couple of questions. Sidebar. So I have, bringing it back to our other conversation, peanut butter and pickles.
Which other conversation? Okay, peanut butter pickles.
Okay, because that's still. It's the saltiness of the pickle with the flavor of the peanut butter, the crunchiness of the pickle. It's just the way that a pickle crunches is different from celery. And then
it is somewhat different. Yes.
Okay, now here's the catch here.
I was just saying that's the closest analogy that most people would have experienced with peanut butter.
Right. Now I'm quite sure you have never experienced ants on a boat.
Well, that's the celery with peanut butter and then with the raisins on top.
Raisins on top, right?
Yeah, we talked about that. I take the raisins off.
You remove the raisins. Understood.
I remove the raisins.
If you remove the raisins, then no harm, no foul. I'm assuming, right?
Other than the people that have complained with me, like when it was served at school, I'd get yelled at. Well, not yelled at. What the fuck did you get yelled at?
Who are you getting yelled at by your friends, or yelled at by the lunch lady who gave you ants on a boat that's forcing you to eat fucking raisins?
Teacher or lunch lady. My friends just look at me like
tell the teacher to leave your ass alone. Jesus.
You can't because then you get detention even back then.
That's stupid.
But
are they gonna force feed you raisins?
Here's the thing about I got lunchtime detention for not touching cotton balls to make Santa's beard doing a art project because I don't like how cotton balls feel. To this day I can't stand cotton balls.
Really?
I can't touch them. I can't watch other people touch them. Freaks me out.
Oh, that's like listening. Okay, that's like I can understand that. That's like listening to styrofoam.
Yeah,
the sound of styrofoam just makes your teeth grind for some people. Yeah, I understand it. I can see where that could be very uncomfortable.
Because of the fact that I do believe fully in to take people giving me a bad time as well as I give out bad time to other people. I mean, you're a perfect example. I give you a bad time about stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm fairly good. You are, by the way, very gracious about the way you take it. You laugh about it. You also know that it's in good fun.
Yeah.
That I never actually truly attacked you with any of those things. It's never about embarrassing you. Even in moments where I could embarrass you, I'll say the thing as a sidebar to you personally to get the laugh, but to not create the hurtful embarrassment. The point is to get the laugh. I've said some things on here where I don't explain the entire joke. It's just the punchline of the joke.
Yeah.
You get the joke because you know the whole joke, but not everybody else needs to know it because it might be embarrassing to know the whole joke.
Right.
It's just the punchline of it. And it's funny for us because everybody doesn't necessarily know it's a personal joke. But anyway, I'm pretty good at taking the thing back. And so, I will say that one of the biggest targets of me giving crap to is my wife, because I spend most of my time around her. And she's pretty good about occasionally giving it back. And one of the ways that she does that is is at different times when we're shopping. It's been a while since she's done it because she makes sure to do it randomly when I'm not expecting it. If we're walking through the areas of like the beauty and healthcare areas, if there's easy to grab a bag of cotton balls, she'll grab a bag of cotton balls and throw the whole bag at me. Like, not like trying to hurt me with it, just like toss it at me. And it's in plastic, so she's not actually tossing cotton balls open.
She's tossing a bag at you. Yeah.
She's tossing the bag at me. And it's still like, seriously, really? I catch it and I toss it back and I'm like, really? And then I shiver for a moment and I have to readjust myself. That moment again with the styrofoam where you have to just kind of move your shoulders around and just, okay, I need to wash my hands, but I can't wash my hands right now. Those kind of feelings where I need to scrub out or whatever. Seriously, it's that bad for me. It's same thing with people putting in contact lenses and touching their eyeball. It freaks me out. My eyes start watering. But cotton balls,
yeah, I can understand.
So worse. Even talking about them, my mouth gets all scratchy and my hands, I want to go wash them. It's awful.
We have gone from, we originally started this conversation with ketchup on a hot dog, and now we're going into like mental triggers.
Yes.
All over the place. It's been like an hour of mental triggers.
Because we're talking, part of it is textural issue. And
yeah,
a lot of these food things are textural issues. And that's where raisins do come into that trigger with me, because again, they've ruined so many cinnamon rolls for me half biting through. So this is the betrayal they have given me, is I have to look askance at a cinnamon roll. If I won't accept a cinnamon roll unless I have bought it personally. Like if somebody else brings me a cinnamon roll, it's like, nope, not touching it. Not going to do it. Why? It's just a cinnamon roll. I don't know what the hell's in that thing. The only person who's allowed to get me a cinnamon roll is my wife, because she knows to check to make sure it does not have raisins before she gets it.
That's fair.
Because she has brought home cinnamon rolls before, and twice that I can remember, because I remember two separate incidents. The first incident, she brought home the cinnamon roll. She got me one. She got herself one. I started eating it first, And I found the raisin and it was like, nope, not going to do it. And she's like, okay. She's not bothered by the raisins. She's not a huge fan of raisins. Like
Yeah.
she doesn't eat them regularly, but she ain't got a problem eating them. Somebody gives her a box of raisins and she's hungry, she'll eat a box of raisins. She's not going to buy them, but she's going to eat, she will eat them. And in a cinnamon roll, she don't care. She's not a freak like me. That was the first time. That was the first time. The second time, she pulls out she we dish out cinnamon rolls. She takes a bite, notices that there's a raisin in it. I haven't taken a bite yet. She's like, stop, don't eat it. It's got raisins in it. And I'm like, thank you. You saved me. she's like, boom, I know he's not going to want that thing.
That's
Boom.
fantastic.
And so I was very, very glad for them. She's the only one that watches for it. So many cinnamon rolls I was betrayed by, and I love cinnamon rolls so much. I find cinnamon roll flavored things all the time. If it's cinnamon flavored, I'm on top of it. I just love it. So
I can understand this.
so when my daughter had the same trail, I understood. What had happened was we had taken our daughter to go see a kind of concert type thing, which was within her wheelhouse of things. We had originally bought the tickets to take. I think originally my mother was supposed to go to the concert with us, and she passed away. So we invited my wife's grandfather and grandmother to go with us, and he found out stage 4 cancer and was going to be dying, so they couldn't go. So these tickets were kind of doomed. And what they were for something that appealed to those different groups very heavily. They were for what I've come to learn from Saturday Night Live is about is basically one of the most Karen things I've ever done in my life. They were for Celtic women. And I will admit, I went to see Celtic Women and it was a great show. I loved it. But I did not realize at the time, because I was pre the Karen Revolution, that we were going to this thing. But anyway, we were going to take my mother because she was into that kind of stuff. The grandmother specifically, the wife's grandmother was into that kind of stuff. So we didn't end up taking either one of them. However, we'd been watching some of the videos on like PBS or whatever in the house as kind of background music, and my daughter had fallen in love with them.
Oh,
so
that's
we took
great.
we took my daughter and the sister-in-law to go see it. So my daughter got to see her first concert at the age of like 7, which is awesome for her, and it was something that she absolutely loved. So we went and see it. It was, a lot of fun. They have an intermission. At intermission, we go to get some snacks, and daughter loves chocolate chip cookies, or at least she did love chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies were one of her favorites.
Oh no.
We go to pick out some stuff.
Oh
we get a
no.
little drink for it, and we see a wrapped up cookie that looks like it's a chocolate chip cookie. There's little black things in there. Looks like a chocolate chip cookie. She wants the cookie. She gets the cookie. We get back to our seat. We open up the cookie. She takes a bite out of it. The look on her face. I mean, I've seen memes with a similar look. It's this look of just horror and shock and surprise and betrayal all in one as she spits the raisin into my hand from the oatmeal raisin cookie that she got that she thought was a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
From the liar cookie that she got. That cookie was a liar. So
I have seen that experience, and it's much more heartbreaking to see a kid go through it.
It was awful. And what's awful about that is we're almost 10 years removed from that. We're 9.5. Okay. She still will not eat chocolate chip cookies.
Oh my God.
Because that one experience scarred her that much. She still does not trust them. And we now refer in this household to oatmeal raisin cookies as liar cookies. I will refer to it. Anybody ever talks about oatmeal raisin cookies, I will say, what, liar cookies? Those are liar cookies. They make you think it might be a chocolate chip cookie, but they're lying to you because they hate you. That's what's going on oatmeal raisin cookies. Oatmeal raisin cookies hate you. And people that make them and like to give them out to people, they probably hate you too.
I'm sorry.
And that's why I have the hatred that I have. It wasn't just my textural dislike of them. No, they made both my life miserable and my daughter's life
I was
miserable.
gonna say, they
Raisins
broke
are
your
evil.
daughter's outlook. They broke your daughter's heart and her outlook on life in general. She had her first experience with betrayal with a raisin cookie.
Well, let me rephrase. She will eat chocolate chip cookies now if they are like prepackaged chocolate chip cookies, like Chips Ahoy.
Oh yeah,
whatever,
because
famous. But like if it's a homemade,
they're
chocolate
on the
chip
box.
cookie,
Yeah.
that the meme with the girl in the car seat that has the really kind of askance look and the buck teeth.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the look she gives to to chocolate chip cookies. You
Yeah,
show her
I
a
know
real,
what you're
like,
talking
homemade
about. Oh
chocolate
my
chip cookie,
god.
she just kind of gives that side eye glance, like, what the no, that cookie's lying. It's not really chocolate. It's a liar. It's a liar cookie.
Oh my
Seriously, raisins evil.
god. This is
So
I understand that experience.
So now that's the explanation with raisins. We were supposed to talk about. I did want to talk about movie trailers, so I'm going to hit them real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
Okay.
Real quick. First of all, I'm going to talk about a movie coming out next week. Then we'll get to the trailers. There's a movie coming out next week that I am totally going to be geeking out about, and when we get the opportunity, I'll wait a couple weeks after it's out before I really talk too much about it. Although, honestly, there's not much in the way of spoilers, with the exception of maybe one cast member, if that character actually appears in this movie, because there's supposed to be multiple. That cast member has not been announced yet who's playing that part. I don't know if it's going to appear in this movie or in the next one. And that's the movie Dune.
Oh, okay.
Which we've discussed. We've discussed on here. We've discussed you watching the sci-fi channel version of Dune that me and the wife forced you to watch years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge Dune fan. I've read the books because those were required sci-fi reading when I was a teenager. So again, if you've read the books or seen any of the the sci-fi miniseries or the really, really bad, weird David Lynch movie, which I guess that doesn't that describe every David Lynch movie? Really bad. I was
going to say,
really weird.
David Lynch movies in general are very
weird,
questionable. Yeah,
weird.
They have an acquired taste, let's say.
Anyway, Dune will be out next week. I am going to watch it when it comes out. I'm excited about all the casting, and we will talk a little bit about it insofar as its faithfulness to the book, and in where it's not faithful, whether the changes and adaptation to the screen are good. Because sometimes you can't be faithful to the book. When you adapt it properly to the screen, it's still okay. Lord of the Rings trilogy is a classic example of that. There are a lot of parts where it's not faithful to the book, but it doesn't matter. They did a really good job with their adaptation. So the parts where it's not faithful to the book, that's okay, because there's some parts they had to make a little bit better than what was in the book. And that's because Tolkien was not really good at writing stories. He was just really good at writing super long explanations as to why he made up a bunch of languages. And that is the truth, by the way. Ask Colbert, he'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
That's all Tolkien did, was like, I want to make up some languages. Now I'm going to write a history to why these languages exist. I'm not really that much of a writer, but I'm a really good linguist. And that's basically what happened.
Very cunning.
So hope. Well, I would hope he is. You never know. I got your joke. I got it.
Good.
Good. I'm feeling it. Anyway, I'll be talking about that movie because that is like super anticipated. I got to see it. I think commercial for a trailer came on last night, and like the upside is I've done a good job of brainwashing my wife. She was just as excited and geeking out over like one of the geekiest sci-fi movies possible as I was. So I still haven't gotten her to love Star Wars in the way that I do, but that's okay. Baby steps. She likes Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and get her to Star Wars eventually. We'll get over the Marvel hurdle first, and then we'll get into Star Wars. Speaking of Marvel, though, it's funny that I'm using that as the kind of segue in. There was the Marvel movie that recently came out, the Venom Let There Be Carnage movie, and I've not seen it because I hadn't seen the first Venom, but I do know that it's become part of Disney's Marvel plan now that Disney's basically acquired every Marvel thing they possibly can.
Yeah.
it's become part of Disney's Marvel plan. And Disney's Marvel plan is to eventually figure out a way to bring in as many characters as possible into finally a shared universe.
Yes.
And Disney's going about this a great way by using their streaming shows that they're putting on that they put on Disney Plus as the lead in to all of this. And they're doing it brilliantly. They're setting everything up in ways that it makes sense within the universe. They're not just throwing it out at you. They're taking steps to set up this idea of a multiverse and the bringing together of the multiverse and the crossing lines of different universes. And they're doing a really good job in the sense of they're not just throwing you into the mix with a single movie. They are using multiple platforms all tied together to bring this universe happening. Well, we've just had two major trailers that dropped this last week because of, what is there, a Comic-Con going on, right?
Yeah, there's
there's a con going on.
Well, it's Fandome, isn't it? Is that what you're talking about?
It's Fandome.
Yeah,
it's Fandome going on. And two big trailers dropped for Marvel's rival DC.
Yes.
There's the Batman trailer, which
I have not seen it yet.
Other than the Robert Pattinson looking weird with the kind of straight greasy hair that he has as Bruce Wayne, he just doesn't put together enough for Bruce Wayne. I love seeing Andy Serkis in anything and having him do Alfred. He doesn't seem old enough, but that's all right. If we're going for a little bit of younger Batman, we can deal with it.
You know what, man? Aunt May just keeps getting younger and younger, so I can give that to Alfred too.
She does. To my delight, because Marissa Tomei, hell,
dude, right?
But anyway, still to this day, hell. But I love the fact that you can't even recognize Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
I have not seen any of this yet.
He's got a Jersey accent going on that's just
amazing. Man.
I'm not giving anything away, but he is like, wow.
He's got like a Jersey accent?
Yeah, it's something else.
Dude, that's a really good, like, okay, because most people, they're looking at the Penguin, and a lot of the time he is some form of transatlantic most of the time, or in the Arkham games he's super Cockney, which is to a degree understandable, because the Penguin in the Arkham games is fantastic. As a matter of fact, the voice casting, like in most of the voices of the Arkham games, are top notch, kick ass.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job.
Like they do. Yeah, there's a hell of a support system for Kevin and Mark in those games, to be real. And even in the Montreal produced one, man, that was fantastic. But dude, giving the Penguin a Jersey accent is super interesting.
I will say this: it looks like it's going to be pretty action packed as things are looking with it. And I'm interested to see this other take. As Batman, he looks pretty good. I'm interested to see how he pulls off Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's always been the most difficult part of the character to effectively pull off. And that's, I'm of the personal belief that no actor has ever fully pulled off the Bruce Wayne part, at least in live action. I think that many have done different level of decency with the character of Batman, but pulling off Bruce Wayne, there are people who argue with me and disagree with me, especially in our age group, in our generation.
Yeah.
There are people who disagree with me. They believe that one person did pull off Bruce Wayne. I don't believe he did. I'm sorry, the comedian did not pull off Bruce Wayne.
You don't think Keaton pulled off Bruce Wayne?
No, I think he was awful as Bruce Wayne. I thought he was decent as Batman. I didn't like him but then again, I didn't like much of anybody as Bruce Wayne. So if anybody did,
I will be real. I think honestly, and I mean this, and you're probably going to lose your mind. I think that probably the terrible Batman, really decent Bruce Wayne, Clooney.
You guys like Clooney?
Yeah. Clooney was a good Bruce
bad.
Wayne.
He was not bad as Bruce Wayne. I think that I honestly think the one who did the best cinematically only, was Christian Bale in his portrayal of Bruce Wayne. At least in the first two movies. The third one, no. But in the first two movies, I think his was the best cinematically. Honestly, though, if we're talking the best ever, that's where Adam West shined. I liked his Bruce Wayne. I never liked his Batman. The Batman part was too campy for me, for people who love it.
No, but he was a kick-ass Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you're... I will give you that one.
And then as far as Batmans go, I liked Affleck's Batman, but his Bruce Wayne was awful. Val Kilmer was just Val Kilmer. I mean,
I don't think... Fair point to Affleck on this. I think he would have had the opportunity to be a fantastic Bruce Wayne. The only reason why he wasn't necessarily a good quote-unquote Bruce was because every time he was Bruce as Batman, mask off or not. And any other time was... Like, he didn't get to do the Playboy thing. He didn't do the billionaire Bruce Wayne thing.
He also didn't get to do a Batman movie.
True, he didn't do a true technical Batman movie. It was always something involved in the middle of it.
Yeah,
he's always part of something else, but it's not his movie.
Which is sad.
God,
it would have been nice.
Damn it! It would have been so good to get because Affleck was supposed to co-write and direct the Batman film
with the guy who actually directed the new Batman film with Pattinson.
Yeah. God, it would have been so good.
It could very well could have been, but of course we're focusing on Batman because even though the other big movie that was shown, the other big trailer that was shown was the trailer for the movie Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Batman still dominated that headline. He was the major tease in the trailer is the back of Batman.
Yeah.
And then a car cover starting to be removed from what is assumed to be a Batmobile.
The Burton Batmobile, yeah.
And here's the thing. If it wasn't for the fact that the news was already out that Keaton was there to do Batman in the Flash, you'd wonder which Batman are we dealing with? But the car cover kind of gives it away when you look at the shape of it. Only one Batmobile had that shape to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was Keaton Batmobile.
Well, that's okay. You know that. I'm not sure if you know this or not. Affleck's already shot his scenes
for
the Flash. Yeah.
So he's going to appear in it too. Okay.
Yeah, Affleck as Batman will be in the Flash as well as Keaton. Keaton is the big marketed major deal. He's he is what now?
The question is going to be: is he the only one?
The only Batman?
Well, maybe. I mean, is he the only other former Batman that's appearing?
Right. And that's the question.
Here's the thing. What the Flash is trying to do, what this movie, The Flash, is trying to do, is do a multiverse thing again, which it makes sense because it is Flash. Flash has done multiverse stuff. The TV show, the Flash TV show, dealt with multiverse situations and famously had
I forgot
former Supermans and former Batmans, playing those various roles.
One more thing before you continue. I just remembered. There was an article that I read that actually had that was talking about Grant Gustin being in the film as well.
Yes, there is.
So Grant Gustin will cameo as his own version of the Flash in this film.
Yeah, and
so they're definitely doing the multiversal thing.
And here's the thing: they've tried doing it over the TV series, doing the multiverse with the Flash leading the charge. Which makes perfect sense that Flash would, because his capabilities with his superpowers give him the ability to jump between different universes and whatnot. And they're going to use that in the Flash from the film universe, the DC live action film universe. They're using that as a stepping stone to bring all these different things together and have the interconnectedness. The difference is that I feel that, especially within their live action stuff, DC is a little more clunky about it, and they're using one film to set it up as opposed to multiple, but it really doesn't matter because I still want to go see this Flash movie, and everybody from our generation wants to see Michael Keaton in the suit again.
Oh, hell yeah, we do.
Everybody wants to see a Michael Keaton
Batman. We do.
Even I'm not that big a fan of the Michael Keaton Batman. Doesn't matter. I still want to see it. The only thing I was hoping for, though, when they showed the back of Batman, I was still hoping, still holding out hope that they'll actually do it as a real Flashpoint, and we'll get to see, what is his name? Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We'll get to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne Batman. That I'm still holding out hope for that, just because he would be the most awesome Thomas Wayne Batman, because that Batman, for anybody that has seen any of the Flashpoint stuff, that Batman is ruthless. He's not worried about like not killing people. He will straight up kill people. And when he's trying to help Flash get his powers back, he straight up burns Flash alive. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, that
like,
actually
he's just dude,
and
he would be perfect for that role.
Oh yeah. He wouldn't necessarily help out. Actually, what they've done with Thomas in the comic continuity more recently is they've turned him into this somewhat wild cardy bad guy. Like, he's kind of back and forth, but he has become a villain, and then he has rescinded himself from that and all that. Huh?
Are you talking like he's dead though? Is this a different Flashpoint?
No. They've reinserted Thomas Wayne into the new DC comic continuity.
How?
I don't quite remember. It had to do with another time. It had to do another multiversal paradox kind of a thing. Something happened. I think it has to do with, you know what it does? I remember now. It's fucking Reverse Flash does something time travel bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, basically he pulls Thomas before he dies, and then Thomas shows up in the mainline universe, and there are times where Thomas and Bruce have to team up. Sometimes they're fighting each other. There's like all this shit that goes on now. Fantastic comic, by the way.
God,
fantastic.
It's always
it's
nice
pretty fan servicey, but like I'm not complaining.
Yeah. It's nice. It's kind of nice to have time travel and dimensional travel. And again, I'm glad DC's getting in properly on the party, at least in their cinematic universe. But this is what I'd say: Warner Brothers, DC, if you're listening, just like the Hormel people, if you're listening, I always got to throw that out with them. Give us the spam money. You need to consolidate your live action universes better and plan this crap out a little bit more. Look at what Disney is doing to plan out the Marvel stuff. They are laying so much infrastructure down before they go with the craziness.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been laying infrastructure for this since like I would say Iron Man 2, the first Avengers movie, because in Iron Man, that was just like, we're gonna take an actor who's basically been booted out of Hollywood for all of his drug stuff that he's been involved in. We're gonna let the guy who wrote Swingers direct this. He wrote Swingers and directed Elf. He directed Elf. We're gonna go let him direct this. And I mean, after Lebowski, is Bridges even popular anymore? Sure, we'll put him in here. Whatever.
Well, that's
what happens with this.
That's what Disney's. Well, this wasn't Disney because it was Marvel before Disney bought them, right?
Well, that was Marvel doing it, just like, let's see what happens. It happened, and then Disney was like,
you guys are onto something here.
Mine. And they grabbed everything. And see, but the thing is, again, Disney's setting this up over multiple series, multiple movies. DC, you're trying to throw this at us with one movie. It's great. You're going to do some great fan service, but come on. Get your things together a little bit more. Work everybody in concert. Use the TV shows to set up the live action stuff, the movie stuff, the cinematic stuff. Use it to set it up. Intertwine it better than you have. You started doing that finally. Should have been laying the groundwork for years. You had the capability. Pull your heads out your ass. Okay.
Honestly, what Warner needs to do, just to fucking make sure that this stuff doesn't get ruined, is keep their damn hands out of it. Every time they put their hands into something, every time they ruin it, especially theatrical releases. They can't keep their hands out of something, and then what they end up doing is fucking the whole thing up. That's what happened. That's why the Snyder Cut sold so well, is because it was people were actually fucking asking for. Now, here's the funny part.
So
Warner Brothers, you know what Warner Brothers does leave the hell alone? That practically almost always does extremely well every time they come out with something.
The animated universe.
Yes. And as a matter of fact,
the animated universe is great.
Yeah.
And you see, the thing with the animated universe is they do that. They prep the different animated movies to intertwine and work with each other.
Yeah.
And they have that storyline built out. Warner Brothers, find somebody to put in charge of the DC stuff and leave that person alone, just like Mike said. Leave that person alone.
I know who to do it. I know who to do it. Paul Dini needs to do it. Paul fucking Dini.
Okay.
Paul Dini is the guy who has been at the helm of all the major animated release movies. That was Paul D. Okay, everybody calls it Tim Burton's Batman. Back in the day, it used to have Tim Burton's name on it. It's Paul Dini's Batman. Paul Dini is the guy that did that series. Paul Dini is the guy that did the Justice League stuff. He did the animated movies. The guy that is in charge of all of this recent stuff now, that's a fucking knock. He hits it out of the park 95% of the time. It's Paul. It's him that does it every time.
Well, and Disney has done the similar thing in that when it's Marvel, it's Kevin, whatever his name is. Whatever the hell his last name is.
Feige?
That dude Feige. There you go. That dude takes care of all the Marvel stuff. He's in charge of everything that has to do with the Marvel stuff. Him and there's him and like the one person that I wish I could be. Because he's in charge of both the Marvel stuff and now
Star Wars.
Star Wars stuff. That's Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
I just want to be here. So I directed Elf, and then I got the job directing Iron Man, and look where I am now. I hate you, but and then they leave Star Wars to two people. Kathleen Kennedy oversees like the productions part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But the main person that they leave in charge of Star Wars is Dave Filoni. And Dave Filoni is basically the biggest Star Wars expert on the planet. At this point, he knows more than George Lucas does about Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Seriously. Even Lucas confirms things with Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is
hey Dave, you remember what I did with this?
and Dave's like, yes, I do. I remember exactly what you did with this, and I remember why. And George is like, okay, cool, Dave. Dave is in charge of all of it. Dave is who brought everybody the Clone Wars TV series, the Rebels TV series. He's involved heavily with the Mandalorian. Everything goes through the Filoni filter, and that's the thing is you find the guy who can make it all work and put that guy in charge and let that guy do his job.
Yep, that's it.
Let them do their job.
Warner, this is a call out to Warner right now. Just let Paul Dini be in charge of all of it. Let Paul be in charge of all of it. Yeah, let him do his thing. Keep your fucking hands out of it. If he needs money, give him the money. Just do it. You will end up with an empire on your hands. A true empire on your hands.
Look at what Marvel has done.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what Marvel has done. Marvel is everywhere.
And all they're doing is they're giving it to Jon Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, no, that's Star Wars.
Oh, I mean Star Wars, yeah. Well, see, they're doing it with Star Wars too. That's the thing. It's like Disney knows how to leave their shit alone.
They're doing it with Star Wars. They're doing it with Marvel. Marvel is just like, seriously, at some point I need to get you to go through and watch all of the Marvel movies and the TV series because there's a reason there's a reason. The story elements involved, the character development that they bring in, the issues that they actually touch on and address. They address all the issues of the wanted destruction and things happening and what's the repercussion of having super powered people in the world, and they address it in much more in-depth ways than Lex Luthor being, a tiny, skinny, weird guy who first wants to frame Superman, then wants to kill Superman, then wants to create some kind of a creature from Superman's or from Zod's DNA to fight against Superman, and you don't know what the hell Lex Luthor is doing. No, because there's a super powered person. No, there is storylines and arcs that affect everything based on what superheroes did and people that don't think superpowered people should exist in the world. And it's like full realized stories with real emotions behind it, with real reasons for doing it. It is flush full of stuff. They've done a really good job of making the universe real, making it relatable, and making it deal with issues in a way that actually makes sense. And it's far more than what you think. It's not just blow shit up movies. And it's brilliant the way that they've done it. And that's because one guy is making all of it work together. So anyway, let people do their job. So if you're listening to this, please make sure to check out the new trailer for Flash and the new trailer for the Robert Pattinson Batman. Let's give our Pats the benefit of the doubt, and let's see how he does trying to fill those shoes and that cowl. He may surprise us all. I mean, again, he can't be worse than George Clooney, can he? Anyway, Mike, where would people be listening to us?
Well, you can be listening to us at our website, theXennialChronicles.com or Zencron.com. You could also listen to us on most other major podcast platforms as well. As a matter of fact, the place that I like to listen to us on, and everything else is actually up on our YouTube page, which you could be listening to us. Oh,
I was gonna say, which you'd already be on if you were checking out the Batman and the Flash.
Yeah,
already going to be on YouTube.
Yeah,
so you can check us out at the same time.
Yeah, search for the Xennial Chronicles on YouTube. Go ahead and if you are listening to this on a podcast, please go sub to our YouTube page there. If you're listening to this podcast in video format there, which it is uploaded there, go ahead and leave us a like on the video as well. Make sure you subscribe. And there's one other thing to do while you are here on this page. Next to the subscribe button. Leaving that in. There's something else, man. I can't quite put my finger on it. What was it? What was it, James?
Well, you don't want to put your finger on it. You want to put the pointer of the mouse on it.
Oh, well, the mouse turns into a finger, I believe, sometimes.
Oh, it does sometimes.
Yeah, the pointer turns into a finger.
But can you pick your nose with it?
Well, no, not necessarily.
Then is it ever really a finger? Anyway,
physical requirements for being a finger, nose picking.
Yes, exactly. Well, nose picking capability. Not only, but you have to be able to pick your nose with it. Otherwise, is it really a finger? But anyway, while you're there, like he's saying, you have to click on something. You want to click the bell.
That's right.
That? Okay.
Yep. That's right. Click the bell icon to get notified so that the next time we have a video or a podcast or whatever on our YouTube page, you know about it.
And while you're there, after you've subscribed, hopefully, and clicked the bell, hopefully, and what's the other one? Likings are good.
Yep,
likings are good.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to check out not just the Batman and the trailer, and heck, if you're hearing this on Monday, check out the Dune trailer too, and be as excited to go see it as I am.
Yeah.
Also check out Mike's other two pages. He has a page that he does with his wife where they are playing video games in or really just watching Mike play video games poorly and watching his wife do better at the video games.
She is doing better at video games than me. That's actually very, very true.
That's why I said it. It's also funny. It's really nice when it can be true and funny at the same time. That page is called Chronicles Games. And
yes.
You can follow them there. They also have like a Twitch, I think, is that what it's called?
Yes, we do have a Twitch channel as well. So if you if you can,
I'm sure there'll be links in the videos. I'm sure there's links because they make sure to do all that stuff.
Yeah, we put links in our video descriptions on. Yep.
And then after you check that out, and he gets a laugh at Mike for his crappy game playing. Also check out Mike's music page.
Oh yeah,
Ruling Note Music.
Yes.
This is Mike talking about music gear, music history, music stuff, just music. This podcast is Mike's just movies, food outlet, sometimes music, because we do talk a little bit about music on here, and just hanging out with your friend outlet. Yeah. We don't really get to hang out in real life because our lives are way too busy. So we hang out via this.
Yep.
And you hear the incredulous conversations. The Chronicles Games is him doing his video game thing that he likes to do. Mm-hmm. Ruling Note Music is just his music thing. Basically, this is all Mike's hobbies, and you get to listen to him talk about or watch him talk about or engage in his hobby. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. Is that stalkerish that people are watching you with your hobbies? I don't know. You can decide that for yourselves. But anyway, thank you all for listening, and we'll be back again next week.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues next week.